Three news stories for you. Firstly, viewers, we'll talk about Afar. Once again, fighting has resumed between Tigray Defense Force and Afar forces supported by Ethiopian National Defense Forces inside Afar. Over the past 2 days, I have been updating you about artillery strikes from Amhara region by Tigray Defense Force on Afar. We were waiting for a confirmation about TDF's entry, physical entry into Afar. Now we have some confirmation that close to Wollega, to the east of Wollega, to the east of Hara, reportedly Tigray Defense Force has entered Afar region. Fighting is going on inside Afar. We'll talk about the areas where fighting is going on. Secondly, more than a dozen innocent locals, I would say, have been killed in East Wellega zone. The fighting took place between Oromos and Amharas. We are receiving conflicting reports. Who was the attacker, who have been killed? We'll discuss that. Lastly, Getachew Reda is now briefing on daily basis about new ENDF offensive. Today he made some big claims a few hours ago. We'll discuss his claims. Firstly, viewers, Tigray Defense Force has entered Afar region close to Wollega, to the east of Wollega, in Amhara-Oromo. Reportedly, TDF has entered. TDF has been conducting artillery strikes on Wollega Shifra Road and on Amhara-Oromo as well, because from Afar side, Ethiopian National Defense Force, regional forces, they were trying to advance towards Wollega. That is why TDF started artillery strikes. Amhara-Oromo was shelled, Shifra was shelled as well. We were waiting for a confirmation about any ground offensive into Afar from Amhara region by Tigray Defense Force. Now we have received a confirmation that reportedly Tigray Defense Force has entered Amhara-Oromo. Some sources say that TDF is in Shifra too, that Shifra is under TDF, but no confirmation. If TDF takes control of Shifra, it would be a huge development. No confirmation so far. I can only confirm that TDF is shelling Shifra and Eva. Reportedly, TDF has entered Amhara-Oromo. TDF entered these places, Eva, Aura, Golina, Yellow, more than a month ago. We saw that. Then TDF had to retreat. TDF suffered losses. TDF was planning to move towards Ethiopia-Djibouti road through Shifra towards the Mille. Sadkan is on record. He had said that TDF was in a position to cut off Djibouti-Ethiopia, but then a counter-offensive came and TDF had to withdraw. But once again, TDF has entered Afar, this time in response to an attack from Afar region by ENDF and Amhara forces, Afar forces towards Wollega. So this conflict is once again spreading. New offensive launched by ENDF. Now it's spreading into Afar. Afar is not neutral now, as we have been discussing in previous videos, that it would be interesting to see the role played by Afar in this new offensive. Now it seems that Afar is part of this new offensive. Afar forces, Afar soil, they're part of this new offensive launched by Ethiopian National Defense Forces. Secondly, viewers, in East Wellega zone of Oromia, more than a dozen civilians, I would say, have been killed. Kiramo is the place. It's a Woreda in East Wellega zone, where 2 days ago clashes erupted between Oromos and Amharas. At least more than a dozen casualties are being confirmed. Both ethnic groups are accusing each other. Oromos are saying that Amhara militias entered Kiramo-Woreda from Amhara region and they targeted ethnic Oromos. Amharas, on the other hand, say that it is OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, which is operating in this area, and OLA is behind this attack in which Amharas have been killed. So far, no official statement from Oromia regional government, but it is being confirmed that before these clashes, Oromia regional forces withdrew from this Woreda, Kiramo Woreda. They were stationed, they were deployed there, they withdrew, then clashes started. Casualties are being reported on both sides. Communal violence is on the rise in Oromia, in Amhara, and in other parts of Ethiopia. Lastly, viewers, Getachew Reda is in high spirits. He is making very tall claims. He says, today is the third day of ENDF's new offensive, and he claims that TDF has pushed back ENDF and other forces, and TDF has taken control of strategic high places, strategic mountains, close to almost all fronts. He says that TDF will do whatever it takes to break the siege under which Tigray is. Now, if you compare Getachew Reda's statements of the past 2 days and his statements of more than a month ago when TDF was advancing towards Debre Tabor from Gashina, and towards Debar it was advancing, you would see that the statements are similar. Back then, Getachew Reda was claiming that TDF could reach Gondar. Then Sadkan was talking about Addis Ababa. Once again, TDF, TPLF leadership, they are in high spirits. But back then, we saw counter-offensives on Debre Tabor front, on Gondar front, and TDF had to withdraw from Debre Tabor from Gondar. Can such counter-offensives be launched by ENDF and regional forces this time? Well, that remains to be seen, viewers. ENDF is mysteriously silent. They say they're not launching any offensive, they're small-scale attacks. No large-scale offensive has been launched by ENDF, according to ENDF. But on the ground situation is that they have launched an offensive on all fronts. Renewed fighting is being reported. Can they achieve some results? That remains to be seen. I think we could see an attack on Tigray from Afar in coming hours or coming days, especially close to Matthew, close to Koram. We could see an attack from a far side towards Tigray. If this new offensive launched by Ethiopian National Defense Force, Amhara Force, if it did not work, we could see attack on Tigray from afar, and we could see the involvement of Eritrean forces as well. Do you remember, viewers, what happened on Gondar front? TDF had launched a multi-pronged attack on Gondar city. Gondar city was in danger. TDF was working in collaboration with Kimant fighters from Sudan, from Vakan area between Debat. TDF launched a multi-pronged offensive on Gondar almost a month ago. Eritreans intervened from western Tigray and that offensive was repelled. Will Eritrean forces intervene now from Adegrat side, from Badme? That remains to be seen. It is becoming a bit difficult for ENDF and Amhara forces to contain TDF, to push TDF out of Amhara region. So far, we haven't seen any gains by ENDF and Amhara forces inside Amhara. TDF is holding its ground. Coming hours, coming days are very crucial. We could see an attack on Tigray from afar. Eritreans might intervene in support of ENDF as well. I think for